Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Batter. I'm coming at you just a few minutes late. Storms in the area have caused things to slow down a little bit, but we are here running live and strong for you on a stormy Sunday night. Joining me as always from Pigtown Sports, he is Zach Moore. Today's show is brought to you by Help My Gambling Problem. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. And Zach, lot to talk about today with the Orioles calling up Dylan Beavers yesterday prior to the game. He goes 1-for-4 with a double in his major league debut. Also had a single, a walk, and 2 runs scored on Sunday. And then today, they call up Samuel Basallo, almost surprisingly. 2-run single, also robbed of a 3-run homer by Jesus Sanchez, who robbed 2 home runs today and saved what would have been 6 runs because there was a sac fly on the one that he robbed. Saved an extra 6 runs in a 12-0 Orioles win. So it could have been 18-0 in this game.
Yeah, because he robbed a grand slam too, right?
Robbed the grand slam from Gunnar, but a run did score on the sac fly, and then robbed the 3-run homer from Basallo. Otherwise, it's 18-0.
Yeah,
in that game, the Orioles score, what was it? 24 runs in the series. They allowed just 2 shutouts in the series to take 2 of 3 from the Astros after taking 2 of 3 from the Mariners. And these are the 2 teams jockeying for first place in the AL West. 2 damn good ball clubs with good pitching staffs and great lineups. The Orioles went toe-to-toe and took 2 series from them. Your thoughts on the call-ups of Beavers and Basallo? And I say Basallo almost surprisingly because if you were to listen to the radio station, a lot of the guys around town were talking about how they didn't expect him to get called up until September 1st when rosters expand. Beavers we more expected about when he got called up. They both are now under 45 days left in the season. And they'll find ways to make sure they don't get 130 at bats. But both of them coming up and contributing right away.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked with you with both of them. Honestly, I was figuring. I mean, we talked about it. Likely in Boston, get those 2 games, you get the day off. But this was kind of cool. I mean, they each get their own separate day. You know, they kind of get recognized in their own, just by themselves instead of having to share it and whatnot. All the cameras on each one of them one day at a time. So I thought that was kind of neat myself. What I thought was kind of interesting. Did you pay attention after the game to Westburg's comments?
I did. And honestly, I meant to put them in the notes and I didn't get a chance to do it because of all the technical issues I was having.
So I'll read it off for the people that are listening right now. It says, look, if we want to force the front office's hand or force things to happen in this organization, we've got to prove that we're able to play winning baseball. It's very important in this clubhouse. It's very important to me. I hate losing. Don't care about what the clubhouse looks like, what the record looks like, who we're facing. My one goal is to step on the field and play winning baseball. But I think it's saying that majority of these guys, if not everybody in this clubhouse, feels the same way. Since June, we've got a winning record, playing some good ball. We've played 2 really good series, and it's important for us to keep stacking those together, keep remembering this doesn't happen this year. We're playing for the future. Was that a shot at Mike Elias?
I don't know how you can interpret it as anything but.
Yeah.
Because, one, they were playing their best baseball of the year when they traded everybody at the deadline. They had scored 66 runs in 7 games. They had taken 3 of 4. They had just swept they had just taken 2 of 3 from the Rockies, which whatever. And then they had taken 3 of 4 from the hottest team in baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays. And then they watch as maybe their best overall hitter this season, Ramon Laureano, gets traded to the Padres. O'Hearn went with him. O'Hearn was hitting about 213 since the middle of May after when that trade happened. Not that I'm hating on him, but Laureano, I think, was a bigger impact bat that went. Yeah. And then all of the top relievers that you had on this ball club went out, got traded as well. And you look at some of these games, the Orioles are losing a lot of 1- and 2-run ball games, a lot of close ball games and they've had leads late in games that have been blown because they don't have a closer. They don't have a setup man. We got a guy named Dietrich Enns closing out ball games, and so
he's about as old as me.
Right. And so you look at the team is playing really, really well. Now, look, they came out not playing great after the deadline. I think that's to be expected when you see all your buddies get traded away and all your best pitchers get traded away. but they've stepped it up. They've played some
Yeah.
of they've continued to play some of their best baseball before the deadline and now after the deadline, taking big series from really, really good teams. One, they're getting healthy. Two, they're proving that they're talented guys. And three, they're kind of saying, you know what, we slowed up a little bit, but we're going to finish this thing strong and prove that he shouldn't have sold off all those guys. That's how I took it.
I also said I read something. It's not in Jacob Calvin-Meyer's tweet, but it said something along the lines that Westburg said that this is the lineup that everyone's been wanting. And if he said that, was that a cry that these two guys should have been here in June?
I think that if you look at the players on the roster, a lot of them are friends with Beavers. Some of them are friends with Basayo. Some of these guys, they were already gone and back and up to the majors by the time Basayo, was really making a name for himself in the organization. I think you have to look at the guys on your ball club. They don't care about service time manipulation. They don't care about guys winning Rookie of the Year. They care about winning baseball games. And if they think that there are players in the minor leagues that can help them win ball games right now, then they should be here. And I think that, and for me, Westburg is showing that he is the team leader. Yeah. He's showing he's the guy. Right. He's going to be that vocal guy where, like, he's not going to be rah-rah on the field. He's going to go out there and play gritty, hard-nosed baseball, and he's going to take it seriously. And he's probably the guy, and I think he's proven it. Since the deadline, these comments he made after today's game, I think he's proven that, look, you got rid of all the veterans. Right. I'm stepping up into this role now. This is my team. I'm stepping up into this role. I love what he had to say. And then it makes you also wonder, Zach, if the leader of your team is saying stuff like this, and then you go to Dean Kremer's comment too. Did you see Dean's comment?
I don't think I did.
Dean threw 114 pitches today, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said, it feels really good to have your manager and coaching staff trust you to stay in the ball game and give you that little bit longer of a leash and go out there and prove that you can finish things up for your team. Essentially,
good.
He said. He went out there and said that, and it's hard to think that that's not a shot at Brandon Hyde.
For sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Hard to think it's
he was quick to pull the plug, man. Really quick to pull the plug. Mm-hmm. Like, you could be out there with 89 pitches and, throwing a two-hitter, and the second you gave up that first base hit to start off the inning, boom, you're gone. Like, it didn't matter. He had zero trust in anyone to try and maybe roll a double play next pitch or get a strikeout or a pop-up. Like, he reyanked. And that was deflating, too. I looked at Westburg's comments, and I was chatting with a buddy of mine, Full Count Chaos. And
I saw that. I saw your little
thread so there. I understand the comments, but that's partially their fault. Like, and like I told him, they played through the motions at the beginning of this year. You could have been upset with him all you want in this offseason for not really going after it. You didn't go after it last year. You didn't do a whole lot in the beginning of this year. As an offense and as a player, you're paid to go do a job, and they weren't doing their job for the better half of May and start of June. So we'll say April and May. They sucked. So it was like they were going through the motions. They were playing with that, that disappointment. And they just weren't being ball players. They weren't just saying, okay, this is a business. Let me go do my job. Let us lose because of somebody else. If you were losing games 10-11, or if you were winning them 12-9 or something like that, you would have forced Mike Elias's hand to go and get pitching because you were in it. They laid over and quit how many times when they would get down 2-3 runs? They would just quit. So a lot of that, and I don't know if they're shelving the blame on themselves enough. Like, they did a little bit to get Hyde fired, but like these little subtle shots, like I agree with them and I'm glad they're doing it, but you also didn't do your part. So I'm a little angry at them too for kind of not, just taking accountability for that part, because the whole team did it. It wasn't just one or two guys. The whole team looked like crap. So you could tell they were going through something together. I don't know. I mean, they've played good baseball lately. Are they going to make the playoffs? No. Are they one of the better teams in the AL since all this is kind of unfolded? Yeah, somehow still. Even since July 1st. They have the 8th most wins in the American League. That doesn't sound like a lot, But that dreaded beginning of August, after you just traded away, 7, 9 guys or something like that, and you're still sitting right there in the mix of it, like, they were hot. Like you said, like you listed them all off. Like, they could have made a run, but you played through the motions too long to start the year.
It makes you wonder, right? Because they got into what, 8, 9 games? I think they were 8 games below 500.
They were 6.5. Oh, below 500. I said they were 6.5 out of the wild card at one point, like right near the break.
Yeah, and at the deadline, I think they got into 8 games below 500.
Yeah,
and then they traded everybody. Then you come out and you lose 2 of 3 to the Cubs when you should have won 2 of 3. You lose 2 of 3 to the Phillies when you should have won 2 of 3, and you lose 2 of 3 to the Athletics, who were hot. They're hot. They going into today, they'd won 14.
Yeah, they've won the 4th or 5th most games in the AL since July 1st.
That lineup is stupid. That lineup
it is. It's very good.
It's so good. They have it planned out just right. That when they get to Vegas, they're going to be nasty. But and yet you should have won 2 of 3 against the Athletics. I mean, Keegan Aiken blows that 2-1 lead in the 9th inning for you, and then you go quietly in the bottom of the 9th. And so you look at that, and if you still have Laureano and O'Hearn, and you still have a solid bullpen back there,
does that happen?
You look at that, you win 2 or 3 games. Now we're talking about a team that is probably 6, 7 games below 500. Maybe they're 4 or 5 games out of a final wild card spot. And you're talking about a different final 6 weeks. I mean, they play a series that starts tomorrow, a short 2-game series against Boston.
Boston, yeah. That'll be fun.
Do you really think that Boston, with Dustin May and Walker Buehler, have the advantage?
That's a sweet little 2 games
over Trevor Rogers and Tomoyuki Sagano, who you said yourself, Sagano, last 4 or 5 starts, 2.36 ERA.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at what this team is doing. With the lineup they have now, the way they're starting rotations going, I'll get to that here in a little bit. And the way the bullpen's actually pitching a little bit better, and with the guys that they're getting back, because they're getting some guys back. Look, they're not going to make the playoffs. The hole's too big with too little left in the season.
But you're 10 under 500 with 40 to go. Is it possible? Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible, but that would be, oh my God. It might actually get Manzolino another crack at this, which I don't think anybody wants. But but you can make some noise. If you can get within a few games of 500 and make everybody remember, hey, we're not your father's Orioles. We're a legit baseball team. And you finish the season strong, and that's also what Jordan Westburg's talking about. He's talking about, hey, if we finish the season strong and we have momentum going into 2026, and then the front office sees that and they go and they add the pieces, I think we're World Series contenders immediately. And I don't think he's wrong about that,
dude. If you add Framber Valdez and Kyle Tucker to this team somehow, some way, you were World Series favorites in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you probably need a closer too, but still, like you're already going to be in the conversation for top 2 AL teams.
Helsley's going to be out there, and with the information that you just got on Felix Bautista, which isn't a lot, just knowing that it's a significant shoulder injury, and I mean, we looked into this last week, right? Like if it's a torn rotator cuff, if it's a torn labrum, one of those types of things, he's probably out till midseason at the earliest next year. You're going to need a legitimate.
He wouldn't throw a pitch next year.
Yeah. So
either one of those, I don't think.
You need a legitimate back end. You need a closer and some back end relief help for
you. 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, and honestly, look, a lot of these guys, and we'll talk about some of them here in a little bit. A lot of these guys might turn back into a pumpkin, right? Dietrich Enns, like, I love the fire he pitches with the exception of a couple of outings. He's looked really good. He seems to strike out a lot of guys and has that fire in him when he does it.
That changeup is nasty.
Yeah. And I like the way Geraldo has been pitching. Cade Stroud has looked good. Keegan Aiken needs to be pitching where he belongs, not in a 9th inning role. But they're
listening to Jeff Arnold the other day on the radio. I think it was Jeff and Brett. And they were talking about like Keegan Aiken's kind of regressed a little bit, and I love these 2 guys. And they were like, he's walking guys more, which he'd never done in his career, and the hits are up, the hard hit rate's up, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm driving around to different things, and I'm like, Keegan Aiken had nothing but low leverage situations for majority of his big league career. Like that's all they trusted him with. And now you're seeing Keegan Aiken finally start to get some high leverage spots, and you're kind of seeing who he is. You're seeing why Brandon Hyde hid him and used him the way he did, because this is what you were getting. He doesn't have enough confidence to go after guys that are good, and that's why the walk rate's up. And then the fastball's getting hit around. That's why the hits are up. Like he's not a high leverage guy. I don't want to say he's bad, but he's a guy that's upgradable. You and I talked about this prior at some point earlier this year too. Like he's a serviceable arm, but like easily replaceable in my opinion.
Easily replaceable. And even if you don't replace him, you put him back where he belongs, which is
long
the 6th inning or the 7th inning, or being a long man to bridge the gap there. The results are better than what you're getting from him out of the bullpen. The sad thing is, the way I've always looked at Keegan Aiken is he's that dude who masks being a mediocre pitcher, because he used to allow a lot of inherited runners to score, but it wouldn't get tacked onto his ERA, and so his numbers looked a lot. It was the same thing happened with Michael Givens at the beginning of his career, where the numbers looked a lot better than they actually were. Like wasn't passing the eye test, except for the numbers did. And I always thought that was Keegan Aiken. And this year, he had like 23 of 24 inherited runners stranded at one point this year. And then he gets hurt, and then he comes back, and they put him into a high leverage spot, a role that he's never had before, and he's struggling a little bit. I think that him in the right spot could be part of this team, and it's funny because I used to think of him as like maybe one of their most expendable relievers, and now it's like he's like the only guy that's had any kind of modicum of big league success in a big league bullpen, right? So, but some of these guys are Dietrich Enns, Cade Stroud, this guy Geraldo, or whatever his last name is. They're kind of starting to make names for themselves, and it makes you wonder, how much do they have to address the ball? Trust me, the bullpen needs almost a complete overhaul, but there could be some diamonds in the rough here that will have earned their way into contention for next year's bullpen. By the way, they pitched the last 6 weeks of this season.
100%.
I want to talk about the lineup a little bit here. Just want to remind everybody, if you missed anything from Glenn Clark Radio this week, including conversations with now Orioles Hall of Famer Tom Davis, recently acquired prospect Jerron Watts-Brown, and former NFL quarterback Steve Berline, you can find those and many more in the Glenn Clark Radio Week in Review feature at PressBoxOnline.com. And as always, watch or listen to GCR every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. at PressBoxOnline.com/radio, or right here at PressBox's Facebook and YouTube pages. So we've got Beavers up here. We've got Basayo up here. Kowser's back. Mountcastle's back. Guys like Greg Allen, Ryan Noda, Daniel Johnson, they're all either DFA'd or reassigned. Even with O'Hearn and Laureano gone, a lineup that has Holiday, Westburg, Gunnar, Adley, Kowser, Basayo, Mayo, and Beavers might be as solid a lineup as we've seen all year. And that's before you mentioned Jeremiah Jackson, who had 3 hits today. And I think he's earned a super utility spot for 2026.
Again, I'll tell you what, he keeps hitting. He might earn himself a starting role.
Well,
like he's hitting.
I mean,
like you want to upgrade him, obviously. Like you can go land a Schwarber or a Tucker or something along those lines. But to some point, you can't ignore a guy who's going to continue to just hit and drive in runs. Like, sure, he's just kind of helping you out right now, but like that's kind of how Ramon Urias built himself a role into the Orioles for a long time. And Jackson can play multiple positions: left field, right field, third, short, second. I bet you he could probably play first base too. Like look, right now he's making it very hard, which is good.
He's only played now between the majors and the minors in his entire career, 18 games in right field, but he's already got 2 outfield assists. He went 3 for 5 today. He's 13 for 39 on the season, in 12 games. This season, between AA and AAA, he played 50 games at shortstop, which is his most at any position. In his minor league career, 273 games at shortstop, 126 at second base, 89 at third base, 27 in left field, 14 in center field, and now 18 in right field between Baltimore and the minors. He is a super utility guy,
Right.
And it makes the loss of Arias really not sting at all. Now, again, it's 12 games. It's a very small
Yeah.
sample size, and he could fall into a hole over the next few weeks. But if he continues to produce, and I'm not saying hit 333 the rest of the season, but if he can hit 250 to 250 to 280 the rest of the season, that is a valuable piece for your lineup next year. A valuable piece for your roster who can play pretty much anywhere you need him. And then, you get back to the regular lineup. How much longer is this lineup now that you've added Beavers and you've added Basayo, and they don't look overmatched? And, for Beavers, it's 2 games. For Basayo, it's 1 game. But I saw somebody say that Basayo is the best hitting prospect they have ever seen in Orioles franchise history.
That's tough.
And like, I mean, the guy, he's fearless. You saw him going up there hacking today, and the swings were good. And like, he was, I mean, Jesus Sanchez looked like he was about 9 feet tall out there, robbing home runs today. I mean, and like the home runs he robbed, I mean, the glove was well over the wall, but it looked like he barely jumped for them. I mean, that's got to be a 5-foot fence out there. But I mean, like, there's no doubt about it. Gunnar and Basayo each thought that they got their home runs, and they were both robbed. I mean, Basayo is what, a couple inches away from having 2 hits and 5 RBIs in his big league debut. I think the kid's special, and I don't think that he's intimidated at all.
He trusts his hands. I mean, it's clear as day that it looks like he sees the ball well, and he just keeps the hands back, and he just rocks and fires. I was sitting there last night, and I was talking to my wife, and I was telling her how, this was Beaver's debut or whatever, and he was facing, was a King that was a lefty, and he was missing those 92, 93s that were catching the heart of the plate a little bit. And I told her, I said, that's the difference right there between AAA and the big leagues. She's like, what do you mean? I said, from a right-hander, 92, 93, and Beavers is hitting that all over the ballpark all day long. But from a lefty in the big leagues, now that this guy's hiding the ball just a little bit more, the ball's moving just a little bit more, he's missing it right in the heart of the plate. And then, of course, he comes up, and Abreu's a great reliever. One of the better ones this season. Was it 96, 97, right on the inside corner, and he just turned on it like he was just waiting for it. And I was like, it got me to thinking, I was like, okay, so maybe he must not have seen a whole lot of lefties this year. And of course, he only had 64 bats this year against lefties. So that whole, remember when they talked about Holiday need more bats? It's very true. You don't really see him in the minors. But God, he smoked it, and he looked right on it. He was short to it. Got the foot down, something we haven't still seen from Kobe Mayo yet. Kobe's hitting the ball better, but it's still a very ugly-looking swing, in my opinion. But Sammy, same thing, man. Just foot was down, hands were back. They were ready to rock and roll. When they got their pitch, they put a good swing on the ball. It didn't look ugly. And we might have to see an adjustment for both of them for the lefties because of what I just said. They're not seeing a ton of them this year. And you're especially not seeing ones that have balls that move a little bit or they're really hiding the ball that well. You're kind of just seeing a lefty who might throw between 91 to 95 down there. Like, that's about it. And they can probably hit them, but even then, you're still only – I don't even know what Samuel had. But I'm going to look it up now. But I guarantee it was probably around that – probably even less because he missed most of the start of the season. So, I mean, we might have to be a little – patient on those, but that's fine. At this time of the year, like, who cares?
Yeah, play these guys every day. Give them their run. They've got 6 weeks to prove that they belong here, and right. I don't think Beavers. I think Beavers.
So Sammy had 63 at bats and hit 206. So his little curve is going to take a little bit longer, I think, than Dylan's. Dylan, I think, was still hitting 273 against lefties. So. He's a complete hitter, in my opinion. He just stays short to the ball. So, look, they're here, and this is what you needed in this kind of season. Instead of starting them next year, and while you're apparently supposed to be good, then it would have been like, okay, we got to let these guys get their lumps. Now they're getting them right now, which is great because now coming into 26, they should be ready to rock and fire.
Yeah, that's the whole point of calling them up now. You're able to save them from reaching rookies, from losing rookie status while still seeing what they can do, and they're thrown right into the fire. They've got games against, I mean, you just saw against Seattle, Houston, Boston, the Yankees, the Padres,
Yeah.
Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the Rays, the Giants. Like, this is the Astros again. This is no joke of a stretch coming up here. And it's going to be, sink or swim with these guys. And I personally, look, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle. Yeah. They're going to go through their stretches, but they're also going to get some big hits. And you're going to see them kind of prove that, they belong at the big league level. Dylan Beavers had a great spring, in my opinion. And so did Basayo. Those guys looked like they belonged back in the spring. Now we're, 6-7 months later, and they still look like they belong. I'm here for it. I'm excited for it. Excited to see what this lineup can do the rest of the way. And it makes you wonder. We've seen it in the past. And I mean, every offseason, basically, where Elias relies on this team, their young guys taking the next step. I've been screaming since the 2022 offseason that the Orioles needed a legitimate middle-of-the-order bat. I've been screaming it for anybody who wants to hear it. They haven't added anybody. Tyler O'Neill is not that guy. Gary Sanchez is not that guy. You've got some names that are going to be out there this offseason. But if Basayo and Beavers are up here and they're hitting, and Mayo starts hitting a little bit more than he already has been, you've got Gunnar, you've got Westburg, you've got Adley and Holiday. Kowser picks it up a little bit. Do you think that these players have any impact just by their on-field play in who the Orioles go after? Because I'm telling you, the three big names right now are Schwarber, Tucker, and Alonso. Schwarber's a first base DH type, right? And so Tucker is an outfielder. Alonso's a first baseman DH type. You only have so many spots for those, and you've got Mayo, and you've got Basayo, and you've got Adley, and right now you've got Mountcastle. I think Mountcastle gets traded in the offseason, though. I think that writing's on the wall.
More for a bullpen arm, probably.
Yeah. So, do you think that having those guys impacts whether they take a big swing with a legitimate middle of the order bat? I don't think it should. I don't think that you can say, "Oh, well, we think Mayo is going to be that guy," and so you don't go out and sign an Alonso or a Schwarber. I don't think you can do that.
I 1,000% would take my swing at Pete Alonso. If I strike out on Kyle Tucker, I immediately turn to Pete Alonso for the fact that he's right-handed and you can trade Kobe Mayo. I love Kobe, but he's the guy that you're willing to part with that will still fetch you a high-end arm. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if he goes somewhere else and hits 40 home runs. I really don't. If I have Pete Alonso, I don't care. It's Pete is going to be better in higher pressure situations. He's been there. He's going to drive, especially at our ballpark. He's going to drive the ball over the place in the AL East in little tiny ballparks. Kobe's going to be great. His defense has been really taking a tick up here. You can tell he's putting a lot of work in. If they stuck with Kobe, I'm okay with that too. I just feel like that he's that guy that gets you the best return, that Jose Soriano type player, or headlines above a Chandler trade. Somebody that gets you over the top type arm where you're not trading Basayo, obviously. You're probably not trading Adley. You're not trading Jackson Holiday. Like, Kobe's the guy that is pretty much the only guy that really is expendable on the team. But only if I land Pete Alonso. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trading him just to acquire an arm. It's only if I can land Pete because I missed out on Kyle. Kyle needs to be target number, I want to say 1, but I think Framber Valdez is probably target number 1. Like, you have to go that route. Everyone else in the AL that's very good has a dominant lefty at the top of the rotation. You got to match it.
Yeah.
You bring in Kyle Bradish at number 2, you're sitting really, really pretty.
And then Trevor Rogers at number 3.
Right. And then if you get something out of Grayson Rodriguez at number 4, or if you go and then maybe go get Mitch Keller or something like that, or whatever you got to do. I'm not a huge fan of Mitch Keller. I think he's just slightly better than Dean Kremer. But I mean, if you're at that point where anything you're getting out of Grayson Rodriguez at your 4 or 5, like, you're in a really freaking good spot. Really good spot.
Mm-hmm.
If you even acquired somebody else and then Grayson was coming out of your number 5, like, holy hell. Because we know Grayson has shown enough when he is healthy, he's very good. And if you get him back healthy, You're going to get quality out of Grayson Rodriguez. Not 100% of the time, but more times than not, Grayson Rodriguez has shown you he has quality stuff. And then,
Oh,
go ahead.
with Grayson had, what was it, like a 3.83 ERA last year?
Yeah.
That was because he made 20 starts before he got hurt. 4 of those starts, his ERA was above 10.
Mm-hmm.
In 16 of those starts, his ERA was about 2.53. So you're telling me I'm getting a 2.53 pitcher, 80% of his starts? Sign up for that in blood. Sign up for that in blood.
And
100%.
if he only gave you another 20, 25 starts next year, okay, cool. I still have Dean Kremer. I still have Povich that can get me through. I still have Brandon Young, and I still have Albert Suarez. Like, at that point, I feel really good compared to what I felt about this year. But Framber, to me, has got to be number one. Just get that off the table, get it over with. You might miss out on Kyle Tucker because of that. I think I would be okay, but I would love Kyle Tucker here for a very long time. I don't care if it's $500 million at this point. Like, the radio talked about it today, and I completely agree with them. Chicago is what the Orioles were. They had a young team that had a lot of talent. They had a good shortstop who'd played a little bit, but he wasn't like the guy. And they went and acquired the guy, and it's working right now. The Orioles need to kind of take that same approach. You've got a young team. You've got a guy who's not quite the guy just yet at shortstop. You need somebody right smack in the middle, because there's going to be times that we've seen it. Adley goes dead cold sometimes. Gunnar, I don't want to say he goes cold, but the power goes cold sometimes. Completely normal in baseball, but instead of like having no one else around them, like we've watched, Ryan O'Hearn trying to pick him up. If Santander didn't hit a home run, it was nothing at that point. Like, if you put a Kyle Tucker behind that, okay, you might get 1 or 2 outs right there in that lineup, but now you got to face Kyle Tucker. You make a mistake and he's going to blast it out on the Utah street. Like, that would be the difference in having a Pete Alonso or a Kyle Tucker in this lineup, even a Kyle Schwarber. I maybe lead him off too if you sign him. I don't know. That seems to be working in Philly. I probably wouldn't change that. And then Randall says here, is he second now?
He was batting second against the Orioles in that series.
Whatever. I don't even care. Somewhere in the top 3, which the Orioles need help with.
Yeah.
But Randall says here, if Bregman decides to opt out, I know you don't have room in the infield for Bregman. Find it. Because he checks every box that you're missing. On the field, off the field, in the lineup, in the locker room. He checks it all. Find a way. I don't care. Move somebody somewhere else that's not comfortable. I don't care. But that's just me.
I get it. But like, your infield, with the exception of first base, is pretty set right now. I mean, there's really not, and it's not like we're saying it's set because of guys who haven't proven themselves. It's set with Gunnar, Westburg, Holiday,
All-Stars. 2 All-Stars,
like 2 All-Stars and an All-Star finalist.
Yeah,
right. So and Holiday is only going to get better. So like, I just don't see Bregman. Somebody mentioned this guy Sean Foy. He and I, we have a love-hate relationship. I'll leave it at that. But he said that he thinks the most likely player for the Orioles this offseason is Cody Bellinger. I love Cody Bellinger. I think Cody Bellinger fits this team to a T. He can play all 3 outfield positions. He can play first base. He's got power that's made for Camden Yards. 261 this year. He's got, I think, 22 home runs, 73 RBI. But he's got a player option for $25 million next year. I don't see any way that he doesn't exercise that option. $25 million to stay with the Yankees, that short porch in right field. I don't see any way he doesn't. But if he doesn't, and he decides that he wants to try and get a little bit like one last big contract for himself because he's 30 years old now.
Right.
Is he enough to lengthen this lineup? Is Cody Bellinger enough?
He doesn't hurt. He can play right field. He can play center field. But at 30, like, do you really want him to play in center that often? Probably not. He can play any outfield position. He can play first base. He can DH. Would he help? Yes. Would he make you immediate World Series favorites like Kyle Tucker would? No. Would he do it with Kyle Schwarber would? No. He's phase 2 for pretty much everybody, I feel like. Those 3 guys, Schwarber, Alonso, and Tucker, are phase 1. That's what everybody's going to be focusing on. and then you'll have your phase 2. And I think Cody Bellinger will probably lead phase 2.
Yeah, and here's the thing: you said the Framber Valdez is part 1, right?
Yeah.
Part 1 of everything. I think signing a guy like Pete Alonso is 1B.
Yes.
Because you go out and you make that offer early in free agency to Pete Alonso, you get him to sign it, and he wants 30, 40 million a year. You ink him for what? What are you inking for? 4 or 500, 140, 175 million. You ink him for that.
That's
kind
what
of
he turned down
contract.
in
He's
New
going to
York.
sign.
He turned that down.
Is that
in
what
New
he
York.
turned down?
He thought he was worth more. Yeah. Originally, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then he settled for that 1-year deal because they wouldn't go back that
Right.
high.
I mean, the average has dropped like 30 points since the All-Star break, but
yeah.
Maybe not 30 points, but the average is down a little bit, because I remember when the Orioles played the Mets, he was hitting like 280, 290. Now he's down to like 260. Well, if you can get him for 30, 35 million a year, right, on a long-term contract, because I think he's got an option. He signed for 3 years, but an opt-out after this year.
Yeah.
But I think the next 2 years are 30 to 35 million. If you can get him 4 or 5 years, 35 million, then it makes Mayo immediately expendable. Then you can trade Mayo as part of a package to get a legitimate arm for the top of your rotation.
So here's what I like about Pete, and this is why I agree with you. He's 1A, 1B. He's hitting .333 this year with runners in scoring position with 13 home runs and 73 RBIs and just 33 strikeouts and 126 at bats. He's revamped his swing, and he's a menace with runners in scoring position now. That's why I'm okay letting Coby Mayo go, because if he can give you that kind of production and Mayo lands you a Jose Soriano or a Bubba Chandler, who's really going to complain if he's hitting 30 home runs in Pittsburgh?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Or for LA Angels, because he's not going to do anything out there. Not at the Angels. Who cares?
Right.
You know,
I don't care. Like, if you get me, just like, I mean, Kyle Stowers just hit the IL. I believe it's some kind of oblique strain, right? And he's having a great year. All-star for the Marlins. He's on pace for 30, 35 home runs this year. Although he does have a serious injury now. But Trevor Rogers has a 1.40 ERA for you this year. What, 12, 13 starts? So, like, I look at that and I say, that's worth it. Which is crazy, because a year ago I was like, this was terrible. But now it's like, no, you got a legitimate ace starting pitcher for Kyle Stowers and Connor Norby. That's worth it.
Connor Norby headlined that trade.
Yeah.
We quickly forgot about that.
Yeah. And that, so you're going to tell me that Coby Mayo is going to go to DC and hit 30, 35 home runs, or Pittsburgh or the Angels and hit 30 to 35 home runs?
I wouldn't care.
I don't care, because they're going to sign. If that means that you sign Pete Alonso and you get a legitimate starting pitcher and your team's healthy next year and you win 100+ games and go to a World Series, do not care. Right. I like Coby.
If I got Bubba Chandler for that, I would make that 7,000 times in a row.
Yeah, I like Coby Mayo.
Yeah,
but if trading him helps you win a World Series, see you, man.
Yeah,
thank you. I'll see you later. So I'm completely good with it. I just don't want this team, this regime.
It's not, look, I want people to understand that, like, we're not hating on Mayo. We're not saying like the Orioles need to get rid of him. They need to make a room for him. It's Coby nets you the best pitcher. That's all it comes down to. You could try to trade Cowser. You're not going to get the type of player that you would for Cowser that you would for Mayo. Same with Mountcastle. Same with pretty much anybody else outside of Basayo and Jackson Holiday. Mayo is the prize, but he's also a guy that has people behind him ready to go in Basayo and Adley or Pete Alonso. Like, that's all we're saying. It's not a Coby Mayo hate fest here. I just wanted to clarify that.
No, yeah, and the other thing is, if you can get Pete Alonso, who is already what you hope Coby Mayo becomes, and Coby Mayo gets you that top of the rotation arm, if you're not, that's just bad business. If you're not doing that, like, it just is. Like, while you're waiting for Mayo to become somebody that you could already sign, and in trading Mayo you can get somebody to lead your rotation. I just think that it makes too much sense to not do it. You brought up Cowser. Knowing you and doing this show with you for a long time now, I don't want to. I know you don't want to spend any time on this. I don't want to spend too much on it. I made a joke yesterday. Yeah, it was a joke because Dylan Beavers.
You can't joke on Twitter. Come on, Paul.
Well, the thing is, like 90% of people agree with me, and it's like that 10%. They are so nasty about it. They are so nasty about it. But there's already 2 comments in here. 2 from they're both from Joe Racky. The Beaver Dam at the flag court. Let's go. Salute to Paul. I know Paul already bought his seats in the Beaver Dam for next week because I said when they posted that Beavers have been called, I said, "Welcome to Baltimore, Dylan. Don't worry. All you have to do is hit for 2 weeks and they'll dedicate a section to you." And it's because his name is Dylan Beavers. If his name was Dylan Matthews, I wouldn't have said a damn word. And a lot of people thought it was funny, which was my intent, and agreed with me. And then some people, a very loud minority, decided that I was harping on the past too much and that I'm a miserable person and I must be some giant a-hole and, unhappy with my life. And I have a very good life. I have a great wife, a beautiful daughter. I have a house, 2-3 jobs that I love and that I'm good at. So like I'm not a miserable person. It was just a joke. But the bottom line is Kobe Mayo is below league average in every offensive category. I'm sorry. Colton Cowser is below league average in every offensive category aside from or in the slash line, aside from on base percentage since April 23rd of 2024. He is below league average. That's why he has an 87 OPS. I'm pretty sure he was like one of the only Orioles to not get on base today. I know the talent is there with Colton Cowser. And I firmly believe that with the right hitting coach and the right game plan in place for him, that he can prove that he's worth the number 5 overall pick. But he hasn't done that yet. His OPS this year is below 690. That ain't good enough. Not for the 5th overall pick. He's 26 years old and now basically his 3rd season. It ain't good enough. It was a joke that had a lot of truth behind it. And that's all I want to say about it. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I'm not some miserable prick who wants to hate on the fan base, but I also don't really care if I upset that portion of the fan base that has said things along the lines of, I miss when the Orioles were really bad because everybody was a lot nicer to each other. Like, no, I don't ever miss when the Orioles are bad, ever.
I only miss when they were bad because it was really quick and easy to go take a pee. That was about
it. and you didn't live and die on every single pitch. You know what I mean? It was like, if they win, it's awesome. Because
we're just here to enjoy baseball.
There were memes out there like, you just lost to the 2021 Baltimore Orioles. You suck. You know what I mean? Like that's the only thing that we liked about it. Losing baseball games sucks. And if you are celebrating mediocrity, it means to me that you are okay with losing ball games because you're okay with not the best players being in the lineup and out on the field. And that's how I look at it. Love Kobe. I like Colton Cowser. I want him to be a really good player. I believe the talent is there. I just think he's got to prove it on the field. And to this point in his career, with the exception of a 2-week stretch in April last year and a 3-week stretch in August, he hasn't done that.
Yeah.
He hasn't done it.
So I just seen that Umaga. Correct me if I'm wrong. How do you say that? Shota Umaga?
Shota Imanaga.
Imanaga has a conditional player opt out at 15.3, and his market value is 31. So he likely might hit the market too. Is he in your 1A?
The way that he's been pitching, he's nasty.
Yeah,
he's nasty. I'm not going to try to pretend I remember the stat that I saw yesterday, but I saw a stat on Twitter and it was eye popping. How damn good. I mean, didn't he have like the major league leading ERA the entire first half of his rookie year?
Yeah,
like he's legitimate. If he's gonna opt out, and you can make a run at him now. Look, he's gonna cost you an arm and a leg. Yeah. I mean, he's probably getting 5-6 years at 180 to 200 million.
I'd be okay with that. He's only 31.
I mean,
so is Framber.
And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but those Asian guys, their arms are built different.
So Senga also has a conditional player at 15 with a 31 market value. So you potentially have Valdez, Senga, Amaga. I think Shane Bieber is going to opt out. He's only due 16 million. His market value is 24. Brandon Woodruff has a mutual at 20. Woodruff. I don't think he may accept 20.
I think he would.
Likes because what Milwaukee's doing. But his value it's set at 23. I don't think $3 million at his point in his career is worth it. So he might stay, but he's available. Maybe. Lucas Giolito at 14 million conditional club option. I think the club would probably pick that up. Bueller is 100% going to be a free agent. He has a mutual at 25, but his market value is at 9. Not that I want him. I'm just saying.
I don't need him. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't. So Sagano's market value is at 6. I would 1,000% bring Sagano back as some depth. And or bullpen at $6 million. And let's see, Jose Quintana, I don't think he's leaving. It's a mutual at 15. I think Milwaukee's going to keep that. John Means at a club at 6. I think they probably take that because he's getting ready to pitch really soon. And then Michael King, mutual at 15. I think Michael King opts out of that.
What's his season looking like?
Not amazing, but when you look at what guys get on the market, I think he's going to look at that and say, I want to try.
Did you even mention?
He's at a 2.81 right now, but only at 57 innings. He's been hurt a good bit. I don't think it's been arm related though. Yeah, Cease has been terrible on the road though. I don't think Cease's market value right now is around 8.
Really?
8.
Wow.
Yeah. He's cost himself a lot of money.
I wonder what happened because he started out last year.
He's good at home. He's doing good at home. It's all on the road. He's just getting lit up.
I still think that arm is special.
It is. Even getting lit up on the road, he still has like a plus 30K to innings thing. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's absolutely crazy. I'm going to look at his splits right now. Home and away. Home, he's pitching to a 3.61 with 90 Ks and 67 innings, which is great. Away, he's got a 5.65 with 81 Ks and 65 innings. So still an elite K ratio, almost at 29%. His problem is he's just getting hit around. But the crazy part is his xFIP is 3.58 on the road, but he's got a 5.65. That's wild to me. I would give Dylan Cease a 2-year deal.
Is he going to accept?
Give me 2-year, two for 20. I'll get a little frisky. 2 for 20.
Yeah,
Dylan Cease to me is again a slightly better Dean Kremer.
See, you're talking about though, thinking of it from a logical standpoint, and you know that a team out there is going to give him 4 years.
Boston will probably give him 1 year, 30 million or something like that.
Some team is going to sign up for multiple years of Dylan Cease at 20+ million. You know that's.
Look, the strikeout rate is still elite. It's still elite.
And I mean, 2 of the last 4. I mean, you talk about 2022 and 2024. Cy Young caliber pitcher.
Yeah,
Cy Young caliber pitcher. And
dude's got 171 Ks and 130 innings.
Yeah, and he's got 130 innings with what, probably 7 starts to go. I mean, he's gonna approach. He's gonna hit 200
Ks,
and he's gonna approach 170, 180 innings, depending on how those starts go. Somebody's gonna give it. They're gonna say, look, every other year this guy's a world beater, and even on his bad years, he strikes out everybody.
It's crazy,
and he gives you 180 innings.
It's crazy. I actually need to look that up, and I'm glad you said that. I'll go back to, when did he come out? 22 or 21? 21,
no,
right?
I think his first year was 2020 or 2019 even.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I'll check. It'll pull it if it's not. So 2019, Dylan Cease. He was a rookie. 14 games. Okay. 5.79 in 19, 4.0 in 20, 3.9 in 21, 22 he had a 2.2, 23 4.5, 24 3.4, 25 4.6. So likely Dylan Cease next year is going to be pretty good. So yeah, if you gave him a 2-year deal and he kind of sucked in year 2, see you later. Do a mutual option. Do a mutual option.
Again, you're thinking logically. I don't think you're thinking realistically. Some team is going to give
the
that
Ks
guy
are crazy, man.
3 to 5
226
years.
Ks in 21, 227, 214, 224, and I guarantee you he gets around 220 again this year.
Yeah, he's already in.
He routinely makes
171.
32 to 33 starts a year. He's only at 25, so we're looking at 8 more starts for him to get 50 Ks. I think that's doable for him,
dude. I mean, he could have 70 over the next 8 starts. I mean, you're talking about a guy. He could approach 250 Ks this year.
Yeah,
and I'm telling you, a team is going to look at him. They're going to say, "Look at all those strikeouts. Look at that electric arm. Look at the success he's had in the past. He's worth 20, 25 million a year for the next 4 to 5 years." Some teams are going to look at him that way. They're going to. It'd be if he accepted 2 years, 20 million with a player option, the entire baseball world would be like, "What is he thinking?" Like, it's like when Christian Yelich, when he was an MVP candidate every year, took $24 million a year from the Brewers. What is he thinking? That's how it's going to be. I saw a comment in here. AJ said, if we go on a 10-game winning streak, we are right back in it. That's a big if, and they're 10 games out of the final wild card spot right now. So they have to go on a 10-game winning streak just to essentially get back to 500. The season's done. They're a playoff run. It's not in the cards for the Orioles, but get back to 500. I'm not. It's going to be tough with the schedule they've got coming up. It's going to be really, really tough. And how many games they have left? I think it's 37 games left. 38 games left.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about going what? If you got 38 games, you've got to go 28-10. Well, no, that's a little much. Maybe you go 25-13. 25-13. The rest
Tigers
of the way, you go. They did.
Would they go 31-13?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think their bullpen was nearly as bad as the Orioles bullpen.
No.
But let's talk about that for a second here. The rotation in the bullpen have been stepping up the last 8 games. The Orioles in the last 8 games, they've got 5 quality starts. Should have been 6, but Sagano had that big.
Got robbed.
That was like a 2.5-hour rain delay in the 5th inning.
Yeah.
He's probably going 7 to 8 innings in that game. So it should have been 6 quality starts. Another one, Povich pitched in relief, but I'm counting him as a starting pitcher during this stretch.
Yeah.
When he threw 5 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, struck out 10. The last 8 games, the Orioles starting pitchers, and again, including Povich's relief appearance, 46 in the 3rd innings pitched, 7 earned runs, 5 quality starts. That's a 1.36 ERA. Then you look at the relievers, and this is counting Garcia's 1 inning as an opener yesterday. 19 in the 3rd innings pitched, 7 earned runs, 3.26 ERA. So a bunch of nobodies, bunch of nobodies in that bullpen getting it done. Now look, they've given up two runs in 3 of those 7 games. 1 run in 6 2/3 yesterday. Another run was unearned, that game-winning run, because when the ghost runner scores, it's an unearned run. So,
I mean, to be fair, no one knew who Cino Perez was in 2021 or 2022 when he went off. Mm-hmm. Everyone knew that Cano sucked and all of a sudden, but Felix Bautista was terrible at one point. Like, these guys have to start somewhere, and maybe we're finding a guy that's starting somewhere.
Yeah,
that's the cool part when you have a losing season. You get to find the guys that would have never gotten a shot. Cage Stroud so far has thrown very well. Very well.
I like the way that Mansolino is using his bullpen, like trusting Dietrich Enns to go out there and get you and give you 2 innings.
2 innings. When was the last time we saw 2 innings that wasn't Felix Bautista or Yunier Cano?
Right. And then, knowing that Cano's been pitching terribly, even though Corbin Martin had one of the worst relief appearances in the history of the franchise last week, and saying, you know what, even though those guys have both saved games for it, and Keegan Aiken hasn't been great, let me give Geraldo a chance here in the 9th inning. Yeah. I like the way that he's been using the bullpen, picking the best spots, getting the guys who probably need to be hidden a little bit, like a Corbin Martin, pitching him in a 12-0 game today. To me, it's picking your spots there. And I won't give Mansolino a lot of credit for many things, but I'll give him credit for how he's allowed the pitching staff to pitch their games. Like 114 pitches from your starting pitcher, you just don't see that anymore. And he allowed like Kremer got a strikeout for the second out in the 7th inning, and he was at 107 pitches, and he let him throw 7 more pitches to get out of that inning,
right?
And have that 3-hit shutout through 7 innings. Like 114 pitches. Can you imagine Brandon Heidel? There's no chance. Kremer would have gotten that first out in the 7th, and he wouldn't have faced a second hitter. So like the rotations looked really good. The bullpen has done their job. Like some of these games haven't been great, but they've done their job for the most part. Think about the fact that Kyle Bradish's last rehab starts on Tuesday, and then he's probably pitching. He's probably pitching for the Orioles a week from today. Tyler Wells is probably pitching for the Orioles sometime a week after next, right?
And then Suarez,
and then Suarez will be coming back. So then I wonder, Brandon Young has looked decent. He had a perfect. Somehow we buried the lead here a little bit. Brandon Young took a perfect game to 2 outs in the 8th inning, and Ramon Arias on a tapper back to the mound breaks up the perfect game. 1 hitter for the game for the team. Cade Povich has looked good his last 2 outings. Dean Kramer's been solid. Sagano looks like he's found his form again. Rogers is the ace. What do you do with the rotations? You go to a 6-man rotation when Bradish comes back. Do you move Povich to the bullpen?
I would have Bradish be my opener. Let him do 3 innings. Stay where he's at, that 50 to 60 pitch limit.
He threw 5 innings the other day. He struck out 9 in Norfolk.
Yeah, but big league hitters are a little bit different.
That's true.
He's going to be a little bit more amped up. He's going to throw a little bit harder. I would limit him this year. Allow him to still get his work in, but limit him, and then have guys like Brandon Young or Povich come in behind him, and then you have 2 guys getting you two or through the 6th or 7th inning at that point, so you can hide some of those other guys in the bullpen and potentially help yourself win. That way you don't have to do a full 6-man, but everybody gets their work in at the same time. I don't see a point in pushing Bradish right now. I don't know what they're doing with Tyler Wells, allowing him to stretch himself out. Do you view him as a starter? Cool. Tyler has shown he's a really good bullpen arm.
He's a solid starter.
Surgery. He is. He's solid, but I mean, I think we can all agree that they need to upgrade past solid at this point.
Yeah.
Tyler Wells is not better than Grayson Rodriguez.
Anytime that Tyler Wells has been a starter, he hasn't finished the season healthy. He hasn't he had a 6-week stint on the IL in 2022. He had to get moved. He had to get shut down and then moved to the bullpen in 2023.
Wasn't that because of shin splints or something? Was that him?
No, he had like shoulder fatigue.
That's what it was. Yeah. He had to go back to the pitching lab
in 2023, and then they brought him back and when he was pitching on the bullpen, he was dominant, right? And then last year he made 3 starts, and then he was done for the year. Yeah. So, and the fact that he's had 2 surgeries, I think that the writing's on the wall, and I think the fact that the team is saying we don't know what we're going to do with him yet. If you know that he's going to be
right, but at this point, why are you wasting his time?
Right.
That's what I don't get.
And I'm sure that they've told him, like, look, we want to build your arm strength up. We want to make sure that you can hit the ground running in 2026. So we're going to give you starter innings right now, but just know that you're in our plans in the bullpen, and we expect you to be a huge piece of this team.
Yeah.
That conversation's probably been had.
Yeah, hopefully.
I
want to touch on one comment if we have a little bit of time. Kai has actually gave me a $1.99 super chat, so thank you very much. He talked about Murakami. Have you looked into Murakami at all?
I don't know.
He's a 20. I think he's turning 26 next year, but he's getting posted from the MPL from the Japan League. He hits tanks, and I'm talking absolute.
Oh
tanks.
yeah, I know who you're talking about. Isn't he a shortstop?
Now, he's a third baseman, but the defense is suspect, so to say. They say he's not an elite glove. It's definitely more bat oriented, but I wasn't even thinking about him. Does he come into the Orioles play now? He's another left-handed hitter. I don't know if they have too many spots for another left-handed hitter, but I would take him.
Well, again, you're talking about a guy who's unproven.
Yes.
You're taking a guy who mashed in Japan, has done nothing at the big league level. I think it's hard to justify. Now, look, on the one hand, you're going to have to win a bidding war for him. right?
Yes.
And so if you're the team that comes out on top, it shows your fan base that you're looking to spend some money. But it
The only
also
thing I
shows your fan
didn't
base you're spending
see,
money on the wrong guy, maybe on the wrong guy again.
yeah, the only thing I didn't see is if he's like another Sasaki situation where you have to use the international, or could you sign him because he's fulfilled his contract? That part hasn't come out yet, so I don't know how much he's worth.
I have
So
no
that would be
idea.
interesting.
I have no
We'll
idea.
find out obviously more when they dig into it coming into the offseason. What's his face from MLB Network starts digging into it. But he's a very interesting guy. And I don't know if he cracks any of the infield positions on our team, but if they went that DH route with him, I just don't know if it fits. But if you can get yourself an elite hitter, I'm not going to complain. You just make it work later.
Yeah, no, I think that if you can get a legitimate hitter, a legitimate pitcher, you figure out the rest. Like, you need to sign some proven guys, some guys that can help move the needle and push this team back into not playoff contention, World Series contention.
Yeah.
What happened from 2023 to now just should not have happened to this ball club.
Yes.
They've got to make wholesale changes
Let me
all
ask you
over the
something
place.
weird. Do you think for the Orioles to get to this spot now where they can call up Kobe Mayo and call up Beavers and call up Asayo, they had to get to a point where they had to move on from certain people and losing was the only way possible? It's really far-fetched out there. And I'm reaching, but I just want to hear your opinion on it.
No. Because I think that implies that some of this was intentional.
Yeah.
And I don't
Well, when you look at him trying to sign pitching, something was intentional.
Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe because I've had the thought in the past. He's had all these top draft picks, all these high draft picks, and he's done a really good job with a lot of these draft picks. But once these guys graduate, how do you replenish that farm system?
Yeah.
Would he tank a season again? And if the Orioles, and I thought this to myself sometime in 2023. Say the Orioles, they've won 101 games out that year, made the playoffs. They won 91 games last year, made the playoffs. You make the playoffs a couple of years, but you're not quite there yet. You're trying to get the farm system. If somebody told me, hey, look, the Orioles are going to have a really bad season right in the middle of this window, it's going to replenish the farm system, and then they're going to come out and that window is going to be shoved wide the F open, and they're going to go win a couple of championships. Am I okay with that losing season? The thought has crossed my mind. There's just too much that would go into intentionally tanking this season.
I don't think they intentionally. I think it just fit perfect for him to finally move on. Like long term, did Ryan O'Hearn fit here?
No, he shouldn't have been here this year.
Right. Long term, did Ramon Arias fit here? Did Jorge Mateo fit here? Did Cedric Mullins fit here? It almost just felt like Mike needed this to happen, and it was just like a relief for him that it did. So now he can finally get what he wanted here. And then now he has room to also go get better players in free agency. Because he liked Mateo. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he didn't. I think he liked him enough where he kept him on the roster, but it was like, I can't find anybody better to do what Jorge Mateo does. Give me maybe some outfield reps, play a good second base, spell me at shortstop, and hit left-handed pitching. Well, now all of a sudden you got Jeremiah Jackson. Right now, Jackson Holliday's kind of taken that step a little bit. Jordan Westburg has shown to be that guy, but has it maybe gotten to that point now where he doesn't have to rely on those misfits? Should I say misfits? I feel like that's a little degrading. I shouldn't say misfits.
Here's
guys that didn't fit his long-term plan. Let's say that.
Well, here's the thing. A guy like Jorge Mateo somehow, some way found himself into ample playing time every year that he was here, despite being one of the worst hitters in the league every year, because he's got a good glove and he's fast. Jorge Mateo, he's Jared Dyson, right?
Yeah.
Like he should be a defensive replacement and a pinch runner. He should start 30 games a year. Play 120. But start maybe 30 games. He should start one to 2 games a week. He was starting 4
Yeah.
4 games
Used
a
to
week.
drive me nuts.
It drove all of us nuts. It doesn't make any sense. He had that one great April back in 2023 where he looked like the best shortstop in baseball. He had 6 home runs.
361 with 7 home runs. Yeah.
Yeah. He had 6 home runs in April. He hit 1 home run the rest of the year. It was an inside the park home run in August. His average went from 361 in April down to what, like 217 by the end of the year. Yet he still found a way to play every single day. If he hadn't been hurt, Jackson Holliday wouldn't have been starting at second base every day.
My God, I used to go nuts about that.
Holliday would have been playing against right-handers only.
Only.
Anytime a lefty was on the mound, Mateo would have been in the starting lineup at second base. So yeah, and look, Mateo's still part of the organization. And the way Manzolino was talking about him a week or two ago, they still plan on him playing for the team this year. Arias is one of those guys where he's probably too good to be a utility player.
Yeah.
And not good enough to justify playing him every day with the guys that you have on the roster that play his same positions.
He's good enough to be a starter in this league, but he's not good enough to be over Jordan Westburg.
Right, and he's not good enough to start, in my opinion. Is he playing second base basically every day for Houston?
He did against us at least.
Yeah, I think he's been playing second base just about every day.
Yeah.
If he's not the guy, he's a guy. Yeah. And maybe on a team like Houston, who has enough talent and enough pedigree around him, they can. But he generally, in my opinion, is a guy who starts for a mediocre to bad team.
Yeah.
But a team that's really good that has a Jordan Westburg, a Jackson Holliday, and a Gunnar Henderson, Arias, there's not really a spot for him. And now you've got a guy.
I didn't understand why the Yankees didn't try to go get that. He's a starting third baseman for the Yankees.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. You missed out on Suarez. You should have been picking up the phone immediately and calling for Ramon Urias.
Well, they who they get from Colorado?
McMahon. He's better than McMahon.
Yeah, but maybe they don't think so, or maybe they called and the Orioles were like, "Nah, we're good." We have no idea what happened there.
Maybe, yeah, you're right.
I don't think that Mike Elias operates, and I don't want to help my division. But I don't think he operates that way, especially in a season that is lost by the time you're at the deadline.
That's fair.
But
McMahon's hitting 175 at the Yankees right now.
Well, he was hitting like 205 with the Rockies, right? So I do think that a season like this allows you to replenish your farm system, which I know Mike Elias loved. It allows you to get a high draft pick next year. They're going to be in the lottery for the first
top 10's
pick.
lottery, right?
Yeah. They're probably going to get a top 5 pick next year.
Yeah,
and your team's probably going to be should be a playoff contender again next year. So you replenish your farm system this year. You get some high draft picks next year. You also were able to use the draft picks this year to get some really, really solid. Like they knocked that draft out of the park this year. And you still get to contend next year. Like this isn't a new rebuild. This is like we're reloading, and you get to get rid of guys like Urias and Mullins and O'Hearn who are aging themselves out and just frankly aren't good enough to play for your team anymore. You've got guys that play their positions that are better, younger, and under more team control. It makes sense. I think that he probably handled the deadline a little bit differently and maybe handled promotions and stuff like that a little bit differently because of what it allowed him to do by them being so bad the first couple months of this year. Maybe. I think that that's a likely scenario, but I don't know that that this was something that needed to happen. I think those guys were gone regardless.
Yeah.
They
just, you got something for them to leave. How I look at it.
Absolutely. Today's show brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. If you're feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself, it could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, they specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone and cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. You can call Game Day Men's Health at 3 different locations. Owings Mills at 443-264-4454, Columbia at 443-266-3505, or Frederick at 240-931-3717. Or if you don't feel like talking to anybody, visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com and ask them about a complimentary testosterone test. I heard a few different things this weekend about the Orioles' potential new manager. One of them I heard Tony Penty was on 105.7 The Fan the other day, and he said that he's heard rumblings that if Mike Elias is still here next year, that the new manager is going to be Buck Britton, and that they would have given Buck Britton the job this year, but they didn't want to start him off with a team that wasn't going to win a lot of ball games and give him that bad start to his career. I don't know how much I believe that. I don't know that a team that just went from a first-time manager in Brandon Hyde to a first-time manager in Tony Manzolino wants to hand the reins over to a team that the fans expect to win a World Series to another first-time manager. But I know a lot of people in Baltimore would be super excited if Buck Britton were to become the Orioles' next manager. I also have seen people posting about David Ross. And then I saw another comment on here, and I'm trying to find
Schumacher.
Yeah, somebody said, "Do you believe the rumors that the Orioles?"
I think it was my buddy Deet.
That the Orioles and Skip Schumacher have mutual interest. Your thoughts on who the next Orioles manager is?
I wouldn't hate Buck. I mean, Buck won a lot with all these guys. I mean, now the entire roster now basically, except for Jeremiah Jackson. But I mean, the only it's hard to say. The thing that would scare me with Buck is who does he bring in? Like, how does he upgrade from Drew French? Has he been around the game long enough to know somebody that's better than Drew French, that is better than Robinson Chirinos as a bench coach? Or like, who does he know that could come in and be a hitting coach? Like, at this point, you don't know enough guys because your career has been with just the Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
You're relying on Mike Elias to bring somebody in for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Drew French was a Mike Elias hire, and Cody Ashley was a Mike Elias hire. So do you continue to trust Mike to make those decisions, or do you bring in a guy like Skip who knows everyone around the league, coaches and players and former players, who can bring somebody in? Or do you even look at a guy like Mike Matheny, who has previous coaching experience, who knows a lot of guys and stuff like that? That's my only gripe with Buck, is I just don't think he knows enough guys outside of the organization to fulfill a staff by himself. And I hate to say it, I don't trust Mike to give me another good couple of coaches to get this done. That's my only gripe with Buck. And because I played with Buck. Buck has never left the Orioles. So he's the only people he's going to call are people who have played with the Orioles. Sure, he knows some guys around the league. Could he call Ryan Flaherty to come over and swap positions? Why would he, though? Like, bench coach to bench coach. Why would he leave?
He wants to manage too.
Right. That's my only gripe. And I think he'd be a perfect guy for the job. Just don't know who he brings. So,
and then it makes me wonder, and I want to go back to the comments from Jordan Westburg and Dean Kremer following the game today. You have two of your standout players this year. One guy's taking a shot at the front office. The other guy's taking a shot at the previous manager who was brought in and trusted to a fault by the front office.
Yeah.
Does ownership then look at the fact that these players are saying this, and these guys are speaking for the clubhouse? Jordan Westbrook, make no mistake, he is speaking for the clubhouse. Those guys are letting him, that clubhouse is entrusting him to be the voice of the team right now. So knowing that he's speaking for the clubhouse, is Mike Elias even around after September 28th this year?
It's a good question. It's a very good question. I think people have trusted him enough to rebuild what he screwed up this year, farm wise. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Would he accept a demotion? Like,
no.
What if they paid him this? What if they paid him the same and asked him to be like the head scout?
A guy like that,
it's an ego hit, right?
It's a huge ego hit.
Yeah.
Unless his passion is solely in scouting and building a farm system, and that's what he really ultimately wants to do, but he couldn't say no to a GM gig. I cannot imagine that even if he got paid the same, that he'd be willing to keep that position. I think that if Michael Elias isn't the GM, you clean in house with regards to the front office and with regards to the coaching staff.
Who did
And
the Mets fire?
The Mets fired
Head of
somebody?
baseball operations, David Stern. Would Mike Elias take that Mets job? Maybe.
Maybe.
Like is baseball operations the head of baseball? Is that higher than a GM?
I mean, that's essentially
thing,
Michael.
right?
I think it's essentially Michael Elias's job.
What if maybe they bought him out? Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah,
I mean, necessarily have to fire him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't. I don't think that you get the manager that you're looking for, and that you get the coaching staff that you're looking for, and you get the wholesale changes this team needs from behind closed doors. I don't think you get that if Mike Elias is still here. I think if you allow,
I agree with that.
I think if you allow Mike Elias to hire the manager and build that coaching staff again, you're making the same mistakes you've already made.
Yeah,
I agree with that. And frankly, he hasn't proven to anybody at any point in the now going on 8 years that he's been going on 9 years that he will have been here. Essentially, he hasn't proven that he knows how to go get a marquee free agent. He knows how to get those guys that if they, if everything clicks, are good, like a Tyler O'Neill or a Gary Sanchez. Or he knows how to build a farm system, but he has not gone out and signed that guy that puts the Orioles over the top. And you're really going to trust him to do something he's never done? That's my thing. I don't, and like, I get keeping him this year. I get giving him the opportunity to sell at the deadline and go restock a farm system because he knows how to go get these minor league prospects. And, he's got a keen eye for guys who a lot of other teams, maybe they don't value, and then he can turn them into something. He knows how to draft and build a farm system. So yeah, give him the deadline, give him the draft, and then say, see you later, man. We're going to go get somebody who's more qualified to bring in the pieces that we need and knows how to spend our money the way it needs to be spent.
Who is that, though?
That is a hell of a question.
Yeah.
I'm not qualified to answer that question. A lot of people say I'm not
scares me. Right.
I'm not qualified to say a lot of things.
Qualified? Well, I mean, are they qualified to make that decision? You know what I mean? Like, that's what scares me.
Well, but that's also why you have guys in your ownership group, like a Cal Ripken, like a Grant Hill, who are former professional athletes who know what it takes to build a championship-winning ball club, and they know the type of people it takes to do that. And this Arrighetti guy, I keep hearing stuff about how he's a younger guy who wants to win, and he like the crap that they've gone through. He's unaccepting of that. These guys, they aren't billionaires by mistake. So they either know who to look for or they know how to hire the right people to look for those guys.
I'll tell you a guy that I like, and I talked about him on Twitter once before, but Jeff Kingston from the Dodgers. He's the assistant vice president of baseball operations.
Give me anybody from the Dodgers. Give me anybody from the Dodgers because they do everything right.
He started with Seattle and then went to San Diego for a while. And then now he's been his seventh year at the Dodgers. He's been around the same time as Mike Elias. That's a guy that I feel like has been around and sat in enough meetings to know how to build a championship baseball team and what they look for and what certain things to look for. And look, the Dodgers don't do any of that stupid, weird stuff that we kind of do with the analytics. They play the analytics, but they also look for guys that actually just get results.
Yeah.
So to bring that here I think would be great. I just don't know.
You'd be hard pressed to find anybody in Baltimore that would be against bringing anybody from the Dodgers front office in here because one, they win their division every year. They get deep in the playoffs just about every year. They just won a World Series. They've been to a couple World Series in the last 5 years. So, and they go and they spend money on the right players.
Right.
Give me anybody from that Dodgers front office, and I'm good. D wants to know, does Framber, Helsley, and Bellinger make this team a World Series contender next year?
Should.
It absolutely should. If you go out and you get the best closer on the market, you get the best starting pitcher, arguably the best starting pitcher on the market, and then you bring in a guy like Bellinger, whose bat was made for Camden Yards, his personality was made for this team. I don't see how they don't hit the ground running next year, assuming
he's a beach boy, fits right in.
Yeah. Like if they stay healthy, the key for this team, because look, what are the Orioles right now? The healthiest they've been all year. This is the healthiest team this team has been all year. They're only getting healthier, and look at how they're playing against some of the best teams in the American League right now, and holding their own against two of the best teams in the National League. A couple series before that. If this team is fully healthy all year, we're not having this conversation. But also, Brendan Hyde's probably still here. So along the lines of what you said, I haven't been able to stand Brendan Hyde since the last third of the 2022 season. I think this season needed to happen to get rid of him. I don't think that he was ever going to win a championship with this ball club. I think that he was holding his team back. So just like, did this season need to happen for Mike Elias to get rid of these players that didn't really have a future here? Did this season need to happen for the Orioles to get a manager who legitimately can take him to a World Series? I think that now that I'm looking at it, the answer is probably yes, but nobody would sign up for it. You know, if you told me before the season we're going to lose, but we're going to get rid of these guys and bring in these guys, I still don't think I could sign up for it.
Yeah,
I'm
with you. Let's touch on a little quick around the farm here. Aaron Estrada blasted 5th home run in Double-A. 20 years old, man. This is a kid I think is going to sneak into the top 100. He is a guy that could help fetch another arm if they so want to, but if not, the defense isn't the greatest. He's not an elite glove, but he plays outfield well and plays infield well. Mm-hmm. But he's hitting. Switch hitter, 20 years old, growing into his body, and he's just. I watched him live, and then I watched some videos today. It's just a beautiful swing. It's just short and compact. It's just nice. And then Michael Ferret made his Double-A debut and just kept mowing guys down. When I talked to Steve Molesky the other day, he said Trey Gibson is likely going to win, minor league pitcher of the year, and is likely, 1A for this organization in terms of who's next. But he said Michael Ferret's definitely 1B. Either one of those two guys could win minor league pitcher of the year. But Ferret set 94, 95 today and just mowed dude down. And I think he had like 7 Ks, 4 or 5 innings, 7 Ks. He's a young guy too. He's what, 20, 21, 22 maybe? Let me double check. But some good arms on their way. It sucks that Braxton Bragg got hurt, but that would have been another one ready to roll. The guy,
Griffin Bass, is that his name?
Yeah.
The guy, he just got up to AAA. I think he's the world's top pitching prospect now.
Griffin Bass is Glenn's guy for the press box.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, my God. But the guy's name is Griffin. It's Griffin something. The last name is familiar. What's the last name?
Yeah, I think you're thinking about Trey Gibson.
Trey Gibson.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Yeah.
Oh, my God. I should call in the Glenn Clark radio just for that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Did you go to Glenn's party yesterday?
No, because my daughter had a birthday party. My son and I had our summer team baseball party. She had cheerleading in the morning, and then I had football weigh-ins in the morning. It was a mess. I didn't feel like driving an hour up there.
I felt so bad. Glenn reached out to me last Sunday to invite me. Yeah. And I said I would try to make it. For some reason in my mind, it was next Saturday. And so I realized right before the show started today, oh my God, his party was yesterday. I still have never been to one of these pig roasts that he does. Apparently, Glenn really, really ties one on at these things, and it's a sight to be
good.
Seen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I've missed it.
Good. You got to let loose once in a while,
Hey, I know you want to talk about some of these guys. I do want to answer this question before I forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Rank them: Perlazo, Mazzilli, Hyde.
Oof. Hyde's got to be at the top of that list. I mean, he won Manager of the Year. We can't throw too much shade on him.
I don't think Sam Perlazo was ever given a fair roster.
No.
Leo
Mazzilli, right? I don't even remember him that often.
No, you're thinking of Leo Mazzoni, who was the pitching.
Mazzoni, yeah, that's right.
But that was Lee Mazzilli. Lee Mazzilli was a manager in 2004. And then he was a manager in 2005 when the team started 14 games above 500. And they were the only team at that point in history to start a season 14 or more games above 500 and end the season 14 or more games below 500. I'll tell you, I'm going to put Mazzilli at the top of that list because that 2004 Orioles offense, one of the best offenses I've ever seen in Baltimore. That offense was just crazy good. And then the way they started that 2005 season, they looked to be for real. The problem was that entire team knew about the Palmeiro steroid situation
Right.
months before it happened.
Yeah.
And that crushed the entire season. I'll never put Brandon Hyde at the top of any list. I'll put him third on any
Yeah.
list. He's, in my opinion, he's one of the worst good managers I've ever seen. I thought he was awful, and yet he somehow managed to win baseball games.
Yep.
Beyond me. But anyway, getting back to these minor, Nate George, your boy Nate George. I think I just saw he's number 87 in the top 100.
Yep.
Like the dude just keeps hitting. He's stupid. I look at somebody like that. If you were an Olympic caliber athlete, you're an Olympic athlete, an Olympic sprinter. You're just an athlete. It doesn't surprise me that he's this good of a baseball player.
Yep.
You know. Any other minor league guys that you want to get to?
I haven't had a chance to check in with a lot of them. I think Aaron Cena has thrown the ball fairly well. His 2 starts, was he Delmarva or Aberdeen? I can't remember. But he's thrown the ball pretty good.
I think he started. I think he got called up. Didn't he?
Yeah. Was it Wellington? Aaron Cena? Yeah, he's at high A, Aberdeen. Yeah. Okay. When I talked to Steve Bolesky, he was saying he actually did an interview with him. If you guys are interested, it's on his Substack. But he's had 2 starts in Aberdeen so far, and when 4 innings the first time, it had no hits, 1 earned run because he had 3 walks, with 6 Ks, and then on the 13th, just the other day, went 5 innings, 2 hits, 3 walks, another 5 Ks. So his 2 starts in Aberdeen so far, he's gone 9, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 6 walks, 11 Ks with a .89 whip. And again, he is 20. So could you maybe see him and make 1 start, maybe 2 starts for Bowie? Maybe.
I'm interested to see Tyson Neighbors.
He's been throwing the ball really well.
Yeah, he's pitched in 3 games for the Orioles. Is that right? Yeah, he's pitched in 3 games for the Orioles, 4 1/3 innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, no runs allowed.
Yeah.
And that's a guy who could help out their bullpen. Also, a guy who could help them in a trade.
Yeah, I forgot. Ethan Anderson was promoted today from Aberdeen to Bowie or Chesapeake. Last year's catcher. Somebody else went with him too. Carter Balmer. I think he was he was either 2019 or 2020.
Baumler was a 2020 draft pick.
Yeah, so he's the one he's been hurt a lot.
Yeah,
he's finally healthy and he's pitching really, really well. And I just seen Joe asked about if Aloy's going to make it up to Aberdeen this year. I think you're going to see Irish, Aloy, and Bodine move up there within a week. I think they're going to get their last 10, 15 games in Aberdeen. They're annihilating low A.
Carter Baumler. You said Carter Baumler just got called up to Double A?
Yeah.
It's because he was drafted as a starting pitcher. He compared himself to Zach Greinke, and then he got hurt like immediately, essentially.
Just like Greinke did.
Yeah. But he's been pitching strictly in relief since 2024. 2.53 ERA at 2 different levels. In 20 games at high A, Aberdeen, 2.45 ERA. And what is his?
He had almost 30 innings this year in Aberdeen with guys hitting 184 against them out of the bullpen.
Yeah. That's exciting to see because he was a promising prospect. The Orioles gave him a lot of overslot money to forego his commitment to college, just like they did Mayo in the same draft. And the fact that he got hurt immediately and really hasn't – this is his first year where he's really he's pitched more than a handful of games.
Yeah.
I'm excited for him to see him, finding his niche, even if it's just in the bullpen. He has an opportunity to become a big league pitcher as a reliever, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, Sean Whipple just talked about Auvergne. Auvergne's had a great month since getting promoted to Double A. He's hitting 273, 2 home runs, 8 stolen bases already with 788 OPS and 44 at bats. So him and Estrada have been leading, and Josenberger too. Christ, you can throw them all in here. All right, so you got Auvergne hitting 273 this month, Estrada 268 with 3 home runs. Josenberger hitting 267 this month, Bradfield 261, Creed 261, and then Douglas Hodo's picking himself up here at 245. So good to see. Very good to see here. Bowie or Chesapeake themselves is really starting to kind of pick it up offensively, which is nice to see because they were struggling. Retzbach's got 12 RBIs this month. Creed's got 10. Let's see, as a team, they have 10, 28, 35, 40, 42, 44 steals this month.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're only halfway through the month.
Right, and they're moving. So, I mean, Bradfield's got 5, Butterworth's got 7, and Vern's got 8. And they've only been caught stealing twice this month, and one was from the backup catcher.
There was
backup shortstop, sorry.
There were a couple of years in a row where the Orioles had like 16, 17 stolen bases for an entire season.
Yeah.
44 in a month. That's nuts.
Yeah. Well, these are all those guys that were in Aberdeen last year who set that record.
Oh, that makes sense. Sense. Who was the one guy who was in the system that was stealing like 80 bags a year?
That was Bradfield, wasn't it?
No. But it was before Bradfield. Super fast guy. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. It's not Ben Cosme, is it? I don't think
Ben Cosme? No, not Ben Cosme. Let me see. How long ago?
A couple of years ago. It wasn't that long ago. I feel like he was at Aberdeen. He stole like 70, 80 bags when Aberdeen was a low A ball club.
So Billy Cook had 30 in 2023.
It wasn't Billy Cook. I would have.
Dante Williams had a bunch. Let's check 2022.
It wasn't Dante Williams either.
It's just taking a while to load. They had nobody stealing in 2022. Connor Norby was second on the team with 10.
Jesus.
And Gunnar had 12. So nobody was stealing in 2022. I'm just checking Bowie though.
Was it?
Beavers had 31 in 2024. Ben Cosme had 28.
It may have been this.
Matthew Etzel, maybe?
No. It may have been this Fritz Mizell guy.
Fritz Mizell, okay. How long ago was that?
See.
Oh, you said Aberdeen, right?
Yeah, let's see. Golly, man, there was somebody who stole a ton of bags, like a ton of bags for this team in the minor leagues. Now, like, I cannot remember his name to save my life.
Let's see if I can find you here. Aberdeen. Let's see. Team, individual stats. Let's go back to 2024.
I don't think it was 2024. I think it was 2023 at the most recent.
Yeah, I'm just going to check them all. So Bradfield had 59 last year. Josenberger had 45. Doug Hodo had 42. Vasquez had 35. Etzel had 31. Even Mac Horvath had 26. So they were running last year. That was the team that set all the records last year. Mm-hmm. Luis Valdez had 43 in 2023. Ben Cosme had 28. Let's see, 2022.
There was a dude, man. It may have been 22 who stole.
Dario Hornias had 22 in 2022. Dante Williams, Billy Cook, same kind of guys.
Man, I'm gonna have to look this up when
Adam Hall.
It was
2021.
AJ says I think Paul is thinking about is thinking about an Aberdeen prospect. He was Hispanic, I think. That's who I'm thinking of, and I cannot remember his name, but I remember he stole like 75 bases.
Yeah.
And it was before they became the high A team. So
when they were low A.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would show that.
Speaking of which, how do you feel about how do you feel about the Ironbirds now becoming that independent league, like college baseball league, and the Frederick Keys becoming the high A team for the Orioles again?
I like it. You're just going to get more fans.
Yeah, my whole thing, I live 15 minutes from Aberdeen. Not that I go to a ton of games anyway. I think I've been to one game in the last 10 years. But like for me, it's the fact that like if I wanted to, I could go see some of these top prospects play in Aberdeen, and it's 15 minutes up the road. That's like the only reason that I really care. But it's I'm
tied for the third most in 2010. Third most steals with 3. 54 bats. I had 3 steals, and I was tied for third most. That's bad.
That's funny, man.
We didn't run.
Oh, I heard you were stupid fast though.
I was. For a big guy. I mean, I'm 6'4", and I was a catcher, so they didn't let me catch because I could run. So they told me to grab an outfield glove and learn how to play center field.
That's funny.
Yeah, it kind of sucked.
Didn't
work out, obviously.
Well, I mean, shit happens.
Yeah.
You went further than I could ever dream of, so it's not like I'm sitting here judging you, right? Today's show brought to you by a new print issue of Press Box, which is available now. On the cover post, woke-up profiles Ravens running back Derrick Henry and how his success after 30 has proved he's a unicorn at the position. Also inside, we profile college football players from the teams all across the state. You can find a new issue all throughout the region, including at 60 rural farm stores, and you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. You can find the new issue all throughout the region, including at 60 rural farm stores, and you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. Also, keep in mind, we are just days away from the start of high school sports season. I cannot believe it. All year long, you can find score schedules and updates for every sport and every school all throughout the state at countysports.zone. Countysports.zone is proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Anything else you want to get to before we get out of here today, Zach?
I don't think so. We've touched on a lot tonight, actually. A lot of guys getting moved around. I think Boston Bateman actually went up to Aberdeen too today as well.
From what I heard, 6'8", they said a 240 might be light on what he actually weighs. He's just a giant
260, 270. He's a big boy.
Yeah, like man.
Listen. They still have Basayo listed at 180.
That's true. They remember when they had Felix Bautista listed at 6'8", 180, and
yeah.
As like the best reliever in baseball in 2023. Like it's crazy. But all right, well, hey man, it's been a great week of baseball for the Orioles. Tons of exciting promotions. You know, hopefully next Sunday we're talking about Kyle Bradish's first start for the Orioles. Or we're previewing his first start for the Orioles. And the following week, hopefully we're talking about Tyler Wells' first start or first appearance for the Orioles this year. It's good. This is something we've been kind of looking forward to all season when things got off kilter. Like the Orioles haven't been 500 since Game 6 of the season when they were 3-3. So really all season we've been waiting for promotions of Basayo and Beavers and for guys to get healthy. And now it's finally here. It could be an exciting final 6 weeks to the 2025 season to get us amped up for the off season and the 2026 season. So lot to look forward to. Hopefully a lot more to talk about when we come back next week. Until next week, thank you to all of our sponsors. Without you, we don't have a show. Thank you to all of our loyal listeners. Without you, we would 100% do not have a show. Thank you to Zach Moore from Pigtown Sports for jumping on with us again, as he does every week. Until next week,